Hello friends, thank you again for visiting. So my name is Marco Governali. I am the author of this beautiful best-selling, #1 best-selling book on Amazon.com. So if you haven't got your copy, please get yourself one. You're gonna really, really like it. I was not the one who wrote the book. Yes, I wrote the book, but the information comes from my spirit guide, Seth. So you will realize once you read it that no human being can come up with this information. Everybody who's read the book has said the same thing. There's no question that the book is dictated, inspired. The material is not from me. I am just the writer. So make sure you pick it up and you're going to be a changed person. I guarantee you that. Anyways, today's topic is, it's going to be a fascinating one. We don't all really exist. What do we mean by that? The physical side of us, for as physical as it feels, we don't all really exist, and I'll prove it to you in a moment. Folks, I had to tell you this, and it's going to be difficult to relate to. I understand. It took me years and years to understand this concept. The physical universe does not exist. There's nothing out there. It's all in your mind, but not in your brain, because even your brain is physical. Your mind. You know, I have many friends that are psychologists, psychiatrists, and we debate about this all the time because they themselves know that they are at a dead end. I ask them, well, listen, you're supposed to be doctor of the mind. You're supposed to be a mind specialist. So tell me, what is the mind? That's the problem. So here we are. You go to school for 5 years. You spend all kinds of money becoming a psychologist. You're supposed to be an expert of the mind. But then you ask them, what is the mind? Never mind, where is the mind? I mean, that really floors them. Where is the mind? They simply haven't got an answer. But what is the mind? Okay, some of them is going to try and save the day by saying, well, I have no idea. So what is the mind? Where is the mind? You tell them. Our brain, and then they know, of course, the brain is just a mechanic. The brain is just a computer. The brain is nothing more than a computer which is it's an interface between the mind, and I'll tell you in a moment what the mind is, between the mind and the body. So the mind thinks, I want to move my right hand. It sends a command to the brain, a non-physical command. The brain sends an electrical, so it forms synapses. Zzz, okay, it wants to move the right hand. Sends a signal, an electrical signal, believe it or not, because we are made of electricity, nothing else. We are made of electricity, don't forget that. Sends a signal to your right hand, and the right hand moves. Now, what happens if the brain is miswired? Because you see, there is no such a thing as a autistic mind. There is no such a thing as a Tourette mind or whatever condition. The problem is always at the physical level. And I'm going to explain this a little bit better in a second. The problem is in the miswiring. You want to move with the right arm, you the mind, because you are just the mind, nothing else. The mind, you are the intelligence. So you want to move the right arm. But because there is a miswiring, an actual physical miswiring of the synapses or whatever, some kind of malformation in your brain, so you want to move with the right arm, instead of the left hand moves. So, of course, the doctor visits that individual and say, oh, he's got Tourette, or he's got whatever condition is, whatever, autistic, whatever you want to call it, or this syndrome or this disorder or whatever. You know what I mean. That's not the case. The mind is always integral. Have you ever heard of a ghost with autism? Have you ever heard of a ghost with Tourette syndrome? No, these are always at the physical point. But let's get back on topic here. You are the mind. As a matter of fact, God is the mind. All that is not a human. is not a being, is not a super being or a superhuman. All that is simply an intelligence. Is an intelligence which simply, the only thing it can do, only one thing it can do is think. But in its infinite wisdom, and I'm not talking religiously here, I'm talking spiritually. Let's put religion aside for a second. In its infinite wisdom, in an effort to know itself, to know what it was all about, it started experimenting. But this is all at the mental level. There's no physicality involved here. And so all that is started experimenting with thought, because that's all it's got, and it realized that by manipulating the frequency of the thought could obtain different aspects, different ideas. And then after eons, but not time-wise, but after eons of trial and error, started to realize that it could further subdivide these thoughts and give them each free will, allow them to think for themselves, because regardless, they were still within the realm of the same initial state. Therefore, though they felt free to think for themselves, it didn't matter, because they were still fenced in within the system that we call God. I call all that is. So that's how all that is learns through us. You think you're living your own life, and you are, in a way, in a fashion you are. But the truth of the matter is, whatever you do goes back to God. So in other words, God is learning through you, and that's why we have wars, that's why we have beautiful things and also beautiful things, the ugly and the good and the so, because God needs to know all aspects. But let's get back on topic here. I needed to do that to give you a little bit of background. So all you are is a thought in the mind of God. The reason why there is nothing out there, including out there, you see, even out there is it's all but a thought. And this is how I prove it to you. As you know, we have 5 senses: touch, smell, taste, sight, and audio, hearing. So why do we know that I'm holding a mouse in my hands? Suppose I smell it. I can smell plastic, okay? Just bear with me. But suppose we clipped off that sense of smell, okay? Nothing there. But I can still touch it. I can still see it, right? No problem there. But now let's clip off another of our senses. Taste. So I taste it. Of course, if it was a fruit or something, I could taste. But in this case, I have a mouse, so we're going to make the mouse work, okay? It doesn't matter what the object. Suppose it's an orange, suppose it's a piece of bread, suppose it's a cherry, suppose it's an apple. It doesn't matter. So now we clip off the sense of taste. So now all we have left is sight, sound, and touch. So of course, if I shake it, hear a little bit of noise, I can still see it. So sound ain't gonna really help me, but so let's clip it off. So now we're only left with touch and sight. So suppose we clip off the sense of sight. Clip. All of a sudden I'm blind. But geez, I can touch it, and even though I cannot see it, I cannot smell it, but I can touch it. And by the shape, I can understand. I can extrapolate. It's got 2 buttons here. Well, you know what I'm getting at, folks. What happens when we cut the last of the 5 senses? What happens? So now, what the hell am I holding? If I cannot even feel the shape, what am I holding? What am I holding? If I cannot feel anything, what am I holding exactly? You cannot see it, you cannot taste it, you cannot smell it, you cannot hear it, you cannot feel it in your hand. What am I holding? Think about it. I know this is deep, but this is how we're going to get to it. But the point is, if you can no longer tell what you're holding, you might say, well, but everybody else can see it, everybody else can touch it. Yeah, but wait a minute. Just cut off everybody's senses, everybody's. What the hell are we holding? What the hell are we driving? What the hell are we walking on? But it gets even bigger than that. This is only half of the story. Please think about this. If you can no longer touch something, if you can no longer see something, then what is the point of having a body? If you can no longer feel the earth, the floor beneath your feet, what is the point in having a body? You wouldn't know any difference. And so it turns out that, and I know this is going to blow your mind, or perhaps you're already aware of this. Turns out that the body is only needed if you have these five senses. So what I'm trying to get at here, what I'm trying to tell you is that the body is also a manifestation of the five senses. Because if I could not touch my other hand, if I could not see my hand, there is no point in having a body. Please, think about this. I know this is hard, but this is how I got to it. If you cannot touch anything, see, the reason why you think you're touching something is because your perception, your tactile sensors, but I'm going to surprise you in a second. This is half of the story. Just let me finish this first. My tactile senses, my visual senses, my smell sensors, all this bunch of sensors are telling me I'm holding a mouse. But if you cut all of these off one at a time and everybody else on the planet is the same, we could not see each other, we could not feel each other, we could not hear each other. In other words, the external, so-called physical existence, there would be no need for it. It would not exist. It would simply not exist. So you might think about, wait a minute, the mouse does exist, and then through our receptors, tactile receptors and our visual cameras, we see it's a mouse. Wrong. This is the other half of the story. Now I'm going to make you drop off the chair. Now think about this. What if instead of then feeling something out there with our hands and seeing them with our eyes, in reality is the exact opposite? Because when you start thinking and understand what I'm trying to tell you here, it's going to make perfect sense. What if instead of then feeling something out there, external to our body, including our body, we're instead projecting it? So our scientists tell us that our eyes are like cameras, that the light out there of an object, it's our retinas, and then it gets translated into electrical signals, and it goes into our brain, and we can see this is a mouse. What if it's the exact opposite? What do I mean by that? What if you, the mind, you, the thought, God through you, what if you, the mind, simply imagine an external world? And so you imagine an external world, and you imagine your body, and you imagine that you have hands, and you imagine that you have a desk in front of you and a mouse in your hand. And so the external energy, which is not external at all, because even the external energy, it's all being imagined. Your environment, you're imagining all of it. And through your five senses, you don't perceive, but instead create. But you create all of it, including the room you're in right now, including your air out perceived outside of you. What if your body that I can touch? See, how do I know I'm touching my face? Because the so-called tactile sensors, receptors are telling me so. But reverse the process. What if instead of me feeling my face, I am instead projecting my face? When I do this, I am projecting a feeling. I am projecting my hands, I'm projecting my face, and it feels solid because I'm imagining that it is solid. I know this is very difficult concept, but I know this is so, and our scientists are getting there. It took me 10 years to understand this, but it cannot be any other way. If you could not feel, see, hear, taste, smell anything, you will have no reason to exist. There would be no reason. You could not feel anything. Think about it. And if you cut off everybody's 5 senses, there would be no point having a planet. There would be no point having a car, a house, anything. There's no point. If you can feel the floor under your feet, what are you walking on? So that's why we don't really exist. And now, is this disappointing? No, it doesn't change anything. Bottom line is, God is learning through us. God had to come up with a plan how to make this, how to learn all sides of itself. And so it came up with this plan. It's a wonderful, incredible plan. And this is why nothing seems to make sense. I mean, we take it for granted that our planet flies through space. I mean, folks, please just stop for a second. Think about this for a second. Our planet flies through space at 16 goddamn miles, 16, what is it, 1,000 or million miles, not per hour, per second. So it flies through space at 16 million miles per second. And not only that, it also spins around every 24 hours. And no wind, not a drop of water is spilled, nobody's ever upside down. Now, I have many friends, scientists, and I say, can you explain this to me? How come nobody's ever upside down? How come nothing is ever spilled? Water is supposed to be always level, and yet the water, we're told, goes all around the planet. It conforms to the planet. But isn't water supposed to self-level by itself? And I start laughing. Well, there is no up or down because in space it's always up. Then I say, are you done laughing? What do you mean? Okay, if you're done laughing, now explain to me why no one is ever upside down. And that's when it gets serious. Well, we don't know. So an airplane flies from Alaska. Okay, this is the top of the airplane right here. Say it flies from Alaska to Argentina. So it flies around the planet. But surprise, surprise, no one is ever upside down. Well, if the planet is round, which supposedly it is, if the airplane goes like this, it's supposed to be upside down. It doesn't matter how much you laugh. The plane is supposed to be upside down. But yet it's not. And I'll tell you why it's not. There is no actual explanation for this. There is no actual sensed explanation. The explanation is you are living in a dream. In a dream, everything goes. In a dream, you don't fly off the planet. In a dream, you're never upside down. This is just a dream. Have you ever asked yourself, why is it so? What is this big mystery about? Why is it that we don't really know who made us, how we got here? I mean, wouldn't it be just a lot easier to say, okay, we were made like this. This is what originated us. This is where we come from. This is where we're going. This is what we're here for. Think about it. Why is it that all this big mystery? Why is it that we're not told? I mean, for God's sakes, we live our lives and we don't know why we're here? and nobody can tell us? Think about it. The reason being is very simple. It's because we don't exist. Is that disappointing? I hope not. It's not to me. It's beautiful. Just enjoy it. Just a beautiful movie that God is experimenting with, and it just keeps on going. So enjoy life. Don't worry about it. In other words, you're part of God. You're inside God. You're in good hands. Don't worry about it. So for as disappointing as it might sound, it's actually beautiful. So enjoy it. So enjoy it. Do the best you can. Give God as much information as you can. Help in the process. Don't just watch TV all day. Yeah, it's going to learn. Watch TV all day, but just give back as much as you can. Simple as that. Make it count, okay? Just make it count. Do your part. Learn as much as you can, and through you, God learns whatever you learn. Whether you're a bird flying in the sky, or a dinosaur, or an elephant, or a human being, or a dog, it doesn't matter. Whatever you learn, God is learning through you. Okay, so make it count. Okay, you guys? So thank you so much. And please don't forget to share, like, and subscribe so we can keep making these videos. And if you would like to talk directly, one-to-one, in person on camera, please visit setteachings.org, setteachings.org. And we can have a one-to-one conversation about anything you want. Anything goes. Okay? So thank you so much. Send you a big hug and a kiss, and I'll see you very soon. Thank you.